What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so for several years now, man, we've been hearing talk of an upcoming Richard Pryor biopic, right? I mean, I know I've been hearing about this since 20 years ago. Yeah, about 15, 20 years ago, I've been hearing about this Richard Pryor biopic that just keeps, getting delayed or stuck in developmental hell, whatever the case you want to call it. It's never really gotten anywhere, any traction. And, for many years, we pretty much just heard two names that were vying for the lead role of Richard Pryor. One was Mike Epps, the other being Marlon Wayans, right? Now, Mike Epps did play Richard Pryor. If you happen to catch the episode, I think it was a couple episodes of Winning Time, the HBO docuseries about the Showtime Lakers and how they got their start in the 1979-80 season. If you caught it, he portrayed Richard Pryor in that series, and he did a really good damn job. But I think if you listen to Mike Epps, I think her name is it Rain Pryor? Richard Pryor's ex can't stand him. And I think she still has some sort of, or she has a lot of say in it. At least the project that was being presented at that time, she had a lot of say in it. And the way that Mike Epps put it, he didn't get the part because he didn't want to fuck her. At least that's what he said. Okay. I tend to believe him. But anyway, whatever the case may be, it's a leaked screen test of Marlon Wayans portraying Richard Pryor in a particular scene, right? And it's I think it's Richard Pryor. It's Marlon Wayans and it's Omar Epps in this scene. And to me, I think Marlon Wayans does a great job, right? I'm seeing a lot of people criticize his performance, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. But here, I want you guys to look at this for yourselves. This is a leaked screen test. Tell me what you think.
Shit is weird, man. I could talk to a whole theater full of people about some real ugly shit. This one-on-one thing's fucking with my head.
The crowd can't talk back.
Nigga, you ain't been to one of my shows. Them niggas don't shut the fuck up.
Well, I mean, a crowd won't use what you tell them to hurt you or betray you. So tell me something that you find ugly.
Newark, New Jersey. You ever been there? It's uglier than a motherfucker. Shit. The dog's ugly, the kid's ugly in that motherfucker. Shit. I don't know, man. I guess some of the shit I do to Jenny Lee is pretty ugly. No. Beating on her and shit.
So why do you do it?
Because I can.
I'm gonna walk with you, boy. I'm gonna walk with you. Because I believe you got potential. See that? Your problem is you don't know how to deal with these white folks. See me, I know how to deal with these white folks. That's how I got in the position I am today. You understand? See this here corner all mine, baby. But I'm gonna walk with you, man. You need a job, I know some people down in Mexico City. Pancho Villa. Yeah, I was with Pancho Villa and them. Yes, sir. I'll get you straight. You're gonna be all right.
Now, keep in mind this is a screen test, and it may not have been his best take. I guess I don't know. I'm gonna say this: like, I don't want to judge it just off of that screen test. I have to look at, you know, I would have to look at a whole movie to judge his performance of Richard Pryor. But I do notice that a lot of people seem to be of the opinion that they couldn't take Marlon Wayans seriously because he's a comedian. And I find that one of the stupidest fucking observations in the history of observations. You can't take a comedian portraying a comedian seriously because he's a comedian. But you could take a comedian in Jim Carrey seriously portraying a comedian in Andy Kaufman. How about you just are a nigga who have self-hatred issues that looks for any reason to shit on another nigga? I'm sorry, I've been around too fucking long. I've been doing this YouTube shit too long. I've seen the same symptoms and the same comments over and over and over again. I see this shit over and over and over again. And over time, you just come to a conclusion that you get limited when you're black. You get limited to doing only one thing. First of all, if you think Marlon Wayans can't act, then you've never seen Requiem for a Dream. If you think he can't act. If you look at some of his independent work, Marlon Wayans, he's a really good actor. I think he's the best actor of the Wayans brothers. If you really look at some of his independent work, he's a damn good actor. He's not just a clown. As a matter of fact, if you know anything about the history of fucking cinema, anything about cinema, you almost never see a serious actor that turns around and become a great comedian. It almost never happens. One of the rare exceptions was the great Leslie Nielsen. Other than that, you almost never see it. Now, there are some people who are serious actors who are funny, and if you write a script that they can showcase it, they can be funny. But to actually turn around and carry a comedy with your improvisation and with your skills as a comedian, that shit takes, you'll almost never see it. Meanwhile, there have been several comedians who have turned around and become great actors. Jackie Gleason comes to mind. Art Carney comes to mind. Fuck, Eddie Murphy comes to mind with Dreamgirls, if you give him opportunity. Richard Pryor could be a great dramatic actor, but he had some of the same problems in that people didn't want to see him seriously. He could be a great dramatic actor. Jim Carrey is a great dramatic actor. Rodney Dangerfield, if you ever looked at Natural Born Killers, in a rare role, showed you his acting chops as a great dramatic actor, as a psycho, depraved. I don't want to go into the character too much, but you'll be shocked if you're a Rodney Dangerfield fan. I can go on and on and on and on about comedians who became great actors, great dramatic actors. Art Carney's another one, if I haven't mentioned him, right? So no, I wouldn't sit here and say that Marlon Wayans wouldn't make a great Richard Pryor. I wasn't too keen on the aesthetics of the wig and the goatee though. I didn't like that too much. That kind of took away from it. But it's a screen test. Maybe they could fix that or whatever. And look, Richard was before the illness about 5'10". He was always something of a skinny guy, but if you look at the 70s, late 70s, kind of got a little chunky a little bit, mid-late 70s by his standards, probably like 180, maybe 190. So he was always generally a skinny guy, though. Marlon's a little bit bigger. I would say looking at Marlon, he's like 6'1", a little bit more athletic build, but he could pull it off, though. He could pull it off. If he actually cinched the role, I could see Marlon losing about 20 pounds and maybe with some better, a better wig and other, goatee, whatever. I think he got his cadence down very well, but it's not always about someone being an impression of somebody. This is the thing a lot of people get on my nerves with. Somebody wants you to do an impression of an actor or an impression of somebody, and they think that's a great acting performance. That's not really what, at least for me, I do want you to sound like somebody. I do want you to resemble them. But, Richard Pryor was a tortured soul. A very tortured soul. And a true biopic will have to tap into some serious fucking pain as far as what was going on in Richard Pryor's mind, his brain, the attempt back in 80. When I say the attempt, I mean the attempt that he eventually admitted it was an accident. He attempted to end himself. And it goes back to his upbringing as a kid and what he endured. And I don't want to get into specifics here on YouTube, but no child should be in that type of environment. And then people wonder why he was a drug addict and why he engaged in some of the behaviors and activities as he got older. He's one of the few people who, I kind of give a pass to, because you can't raise a child in that environment and think you're not going to grow up damaged and disturbed mentally. But out of that pain came comedy. And some of the most unique comedy we've ever seen. I think him and, to me, as I've said before, him, George Carlin, they were the trailblazers. They knocked down the doors. They opened the way that Richard Pryor performs comedy. You still have people today doing pale imitations of that. So, anyway, that's just my take on it, man. Tell what you guys think.